The foundation for a cylindrical storage shed is a cylinder 17 yards in diameter and 2 yards deep. How many cubic yards of concrete are needed to build the foundation? Okay, we'll use 3.14 for pi, and we'll round our answer to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so let's go through and pull out the important information and identify some key words here. Okay, so the foundation for a cylindrical storage shed is a cylinder. Okay, so we know we're working with a cylinder. Okay, so something like this. Not necessarily drawn to scale, but as long as we label it correctly, we're good. Okay, so that cylinder is 17 yards. 17 yards in diameter and 2 yards deep. Okay, so this vertical height or depth is 2 yards. 2 yards. And the diameter or the distance across a circle, that is 17 yards. Okay. How many cubic yards of concrete are needed? Now, that's important. This is basically the key word here, cubic yards. That's telling us what to do. So if we're talking about, so the question, actually let me do all of this. This question, how many cubic yards? How many cubic yards? That's asking us, what is the volume? What is the volume? So cubic yards, cubic anything, cubic inches, cubic centimeters, cubic feet, cubic yards. This is a measurement of volume. So we're going to need the formula for volume of a cylinder. And say volume of a cylinder equals area of the base times the height. Area of the base times the height. Now this formula, area of the base times the height, this is not just for cylinders. This is for any three-dimensional shape that goes vertically straight up and down. So our base is a circle. So area of the base is area of a circle, which is pi times the radius squared. And then we're going to multiply that by the height. Okay. Now, what is the radius? Well, the radius is half of the diameter. And if we know the diameter is 17, the radius should be half of 17, which would be 8.5. If you use the calculator, and 17 divided by 2 will give you 8.5. So let's plug these numbers in. For pi, we're using 3.14. Our radius is 8.5, so let's multiply by 8.5 and another 8.5 because it's radius squared, so times radius again, times the height, which is given as 2. Now, 8.5, that's the radius, 8.5 yards, another 8.5 yards, and 2 yards. So we have yards times yards times yards. That's why we're going to have cubic yards. Cubic yards. That's our units for volume. All right, so before we talk about that, let's get this calculation done. I think 3.14 times 8.5 times 8.5 times 2. This is better done in the calculator. Okay, so let's say 3.14 for pi times the radius, 8.5 times the radius again, another 8.5 times the height, which is 2. Okay, and the directions say round to the nearest hundredth, but it looks like there's only 2 decimal places anyway, so we don't have to round. 453.73. 453.73, and that's cubic yards. We're talking about volume. All right.